Welcome to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim, where the truth matters and progressives' feelings don't. We bring you the facts from the perspective of two average, everyday guys who will never apologize for being America first, for adhering to our great Constitution, and for saluting the flag that our brothers and sisters have fought and died for. And now, here's Dale and Jim.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Two Guys, One Coup. I don't know what episode this is, 51.
51, 52.
Episode 50 didn't go
It's
so well
significant.
on YouTube. It's significant. Well, always significant. Hope everyone had a great weekend. We'll get into Jimmy's weekend here in a minute. But I have to apologize for episode 50, YouTube and Rumble. Absolutely. The episode would not download on either. That was not a me problem.
Even still, a day or two after, it still wouldn't?
Day or two after would not do it. It would get to a certain percentage and then stop. And
this will be interesting for the next ones.
It will be. So it's never happened before. I thought YouTube, well, hey, banned again. Cool. Okay, I get that. They usually notify me, but I didn't get a notification, so we haven't been banned.
Yeah, but Rumble's kind of concerning.
Rumble's concerning, so I'm not sure exactly what happened. I've been told it's not me. When you used to date, it's not you, it's me. So I feel it's probably me. As when I dated, it was always me.
I've never been told that.
You haven't? Well, you got to date, Jim. You had to date.
I always broke up.
Did you? You broke up?
No one.
You were the heartbreaker?
No one broke up with Jim. Actually, a lot of people broke up with Jim, but that's all right.
People had to date Jim in order to break up with Jim.
It's just a good thing that text and all that stuff wasn't around, because that's how they would break up with me.
They get away with murder these days with that, just like, sorry, not seeing you anymore. And
then go on to Facebook and insult me.
Exactly. I am glad we didn't grow up with social media.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
It would have been terrible. It's terrible today as an adult. I can't even imagine as a kid. So with all that crap on there. Jim's weekend, in case you hear some little whining in the background, it's not Jim.
It's not me.
It's Jim got a new puppy this weekend, and it's adorable, and congratulations to you. And
more to the point, my wife and daughter got a puppy, but that's what
happened. But
it's a Maltese Yorkie mix, so they call it a Morkie.
A Morkie.
Mork from work.
What did you name this little pup?
Well, I wanted to name the dog Hermione.
Okay, so
for you Harry Potter fans out there,
which are none, gone.
And so so I put my foot down, and we settled on Bella, which is what Lori wanted all along.
No, that's good. That's great. So you lost another argument.
It's fine. I always lose arguments, but it's good.
Yeah. Good.
It's obviously everybody who's ever had a puppy. It's the first week a little rough, sleeping especially, but
it's like
we'll get through it,
baby.
So if you hear a little whining going on, she's sleeping right now. So keep your fingers crossed. So
if we hear her, we hear her. You can pick her up and show her to everybody.
That's true. Yeah.
You could do that. So, but congratulations, especially to Mrs. Jim and the daughter and all that, because I know that was gonna be. I know that's really who. I mean, that's what we do. That's what we do. So, like ours, I got our dog who is Buckeye, which is a Pomeranian, and I got it for Mrs. Dale. That's my dog now. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, the surprising thing, you know how I am.
I do.
Dogs. Just never been a big fan. I'm actually petting this one, and
wow,
puppies are fun, I guess. So
So
I guess eventually the hard shell cracks. But a lot of my friends, posting because I always said that if we ever get a dog, I'm moving out. Another one. Yeah. And so I had a bunch of friends be smart asses over the weekend. So when's Jim moving out?
When's Jim leaving? I saw that.
I gave in, and who didn't know I wasn't going to give in. I mean, come on.
I know. I mean, everybody knew. Everybody knew. So that tough exterior you portray at times,
all gone.
Maybe there's a softie inside of there.
And I will say this: she is a cute puppy. I mean, she's
adorable.
So.
Yeah, she's adorable. So good for you. That's every house needs a dog, man. I mean, come on.
And in case anybody wanted to know why the name of Dale's dog came from, just look above his right shoulder.
Buckeye. I mean, what else would it be? You know, what else?
It's cost us a few. It cost us a few 5-star ratings, but hey, we'll get there.
Well, what was I supposed to name it? Come here, Fighting Irish. How stupid would that sound?
Who wants that? Sorry,
anybody with an ugly dog. Anybody with an ugly dog. Yeah. Come here, Wolverine. I mean,
that's horrible.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah.
To me, that's like that. That's maybe if I had a pet skunk, I would name it Wolverine. Mm-hmm. That's about it. My donkey, my next donkey I get, I'll name it Wolverine. Anyway, stay tuned. A lot of the second half of the show, and I would say even more than half. You're going to hear us our interview with Joy Gjersvold, who is the is it Kitsap County, Washington. Yep. Kitsap is it? It's probably Kitsap is how they probably say it.
Kitsap. Yeah, I think people probably just say it fast, but I think it's Kitsap. But
County, Washington, state of Washington, chair for Moms for Liberty.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna love her. She's gonna be a fan favorite, people. Just telling you.
Every other one we've had on. Yep. I mean,
so
if you most of the people that listen to us obviously are pro what's going on, but
sure.
Just trust us. All the haters out there that say all the things they say about them, not even close. Not even close. Especially with some stories of some of the people we talk about. We won't share that unless they want to share. Correct. But we know some things that you guys are very uninformed. So
very
fabulous people. But Joy is great. She's great.
Boy, she is great. She's going to be and a big supporter of us, which is very nice of her. And you'll hear all that. And stay tuned for that because that's going to be amazing. But I want to I want to jump in real quick because
go ahead.
Some terrible news this weekend. The Senate passed.
Oh God.
Passed the, what are they calling it? The Inflation Reduction Act.
See, this is where we need to put taps in.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I can mouth it, but sadly they passed that. And then
damn you, Manchin, and damn you, Sinema.
Kristen Sinema, Arizona senator, they caved.
Yep.
Sinema was able to remove some little things that probably made the green energy folks pissed off, which is fine. So I'm glad they did that. But when they talk about the Inflation Reduction Act, by spending more money,
which makes sense, right? I mean, when I struggle with money, I always go out and spend.
Exactly. So let's take, for instance, and I heard a really good example of it, and I'll butcher this to death, but mainly it's like, okay, say I have, we'll just say, for instance, a $10,000 credit card, okay? I mean, $10,000 in my savings account, and I have a $2,000 credit card. Out of that $2,000 credit card, what can I spend that my savings account will just make up for? So say savings is at, just say 2%. So $400 right off my credit card. And that way it equals out. So I got $10,000 credit card. I spent 4% on I'm at $10,000 in savings, $2,000 credit card. I spend $400 of that, which is what I would make on my savings account, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that
people in San Francisco, you lost them, but go ahead.
Yeah, I did. Well, I probably lost everybody because the way I'm explaining it. But anyways, I can't spend more than what I'm going to make in my savings.
Correct.
On an annual interest fee, right? So I can only do that. Well, when everyone says, well, gee, this has got to be Trump's inflation. It just is. It's Trump's, all Trump spending. Well, what you forgot was the GDP was great back then in Trump. So right. Trump spent $800 million, but he could have spent $848 million. Is what it would have equated to. Biden spends $800 million, and he only had $400 million to play with. Right? That's the easy. That's the layman's easy, dumbed down version of what happened. So that's how inflation happened. But yeah, go on, Jim.
Well, no, don't think for a minute that we don't. The Republicans like to spend money during Trump's administration as well. So
did. Oh no.
So we're not. Yeah. We're not. It's just the point of the matter was, like Dale said, and I thought you said it very well. Is that when Trump did it, we were okay to do that.
Yeah.
Biden's doing it. Probably not a good time to do that.
It's simply basically like overspending in your household. You make $10,000 a month, say, and but geez, my bills are $10,500 a month. Whoops. Something's got to give. Yeah. Something's got to give.
Well, either a second job or
you lower your spending, right?
Or sell your new puppy.
Oh, Jim, that's terrible. Just terrible. How dare you, Mrs. Jim? I'm on your side.
I'd be kicked out of the house before I was allowed to do that.
You're right. So. You're right. We have a lot of animal lovers listening, and you're sending them away, Jim. You know,
sorry,
you're just forcing them to leave the show. No, you're not. But anyways. So what did this actually do, this bill? How's it going to affect? Now you hear the GOP saying it's going to increase taxes.
Yep.
There's no doubt, 100% it's going to increase taxes.
Oh, but Dale, it's not going to affect us middle class.
It's not. So let's listen to this. So here we go, guys. Just so you know. Over 97% of those who make $100,000 to $200,000 a year we'll see a tax increase. Okay, well, maybe there's people out there, they're like, I don't make six figures,
And keep in mind, when this bill first came on, it was $450,000. It
was $450,000. Nobody under $450,000 a year would see a tax increase. So that didn't affect me. It still would have affected Jim. But over 97% of those earning between $100,000 and $200,000 would see a tax increase. Over 91% of those earning $75,000 to $100,000 will see a tax. Over 90% will see a tax increase if you earn $75,000 to $100,000. Over 60% will see a tax increase if you make between $40,000 and $50,000. And then here's this one. Almost 25% of those people making $10,000 to $20,000 a year will see a tax increase. The poor are getting poorer, and they don't even know they're getting poorer. But now, what does that mean? Oh, go on.
No, if they keep voting for the Democrat.
What does that mean? If they keep voting for Democrats. That's right. So you just heard those figures, people. The average personal income in the United States is $63,214. With the median income across the country being $44,225. That's in 2022. Up-to-date numbers. Well, geez, that sounds to me like it's going to affect over 90% of the people in the nation currently right now will see a tax increase. That's it. That's not bullshit. I'm not making that up. These are real figures.
Yeah. Those numbers that you showed.
Yeah.
I did my due diligence as a journalist.
Yes, and
guess what's not detailed on MSNBC or CNN? They're touting how wonderful this bill is. But remember what we were told. Yeah, absolutely no tax increases for those making less than $450,000.
Is this Biden's read my lips moment, from back in George
Bush
but
is anybody going to know?
No. Well, that's right. Because
they're already being hit with inflation on their higher food prices. So out of their paychecks, are they even going to know?
Yep.
And it's because I'm sorry, they're just ignorant. And whatever, if this is where you guys want to go, if this is who you guys want to vote for, that's fine.
Yep.
Don't make the rest of us suffer. Because for anybody who thinks for a second that they give a shit about the lower income, you are far, far fooling yourselves.
You're fooling yourself. That's right.
And we as conservatives get in trouble because we want the lower income. We want to help them up, right? We want to give them a helping hand. We don't want to keep handing out.
Correct.
So we're demonized for that.
That's right.
But anyway,
good.
You're not very
wrong.
Well stated though, because those numbers are not being told.
They're not being told. They're not being told out there on anything but maybe Fox, OAN, maybe Newsmax. And then of course conservative podcasts and or talk shows will talk about them, but that's still not the coverage that all the other media gets combined.
Right.
And when that's not even put out, it's not even out there. Like the journalism, we talk about it so often, Jim. It baffles me that they can get away with this shit. It really does. That they just can't report on. Shame on them. Yeah, exactly. Shame on it. Because we all suffer because of it. Jim, do you got anything else to add before we get into the first part of our
no, just keep an eye on this. This is going to get worse.
It's going to get bad. It's bad.
Sorry. Yep.
It's bad. And Manchin and all it was right down party lines. And guess who the deciding vote was?
Of course.
The wordsmith herself, Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And, but again, initially some of this stuff is going to look like it helps for the interim because all this is to do, they're going to try to they're going to weekend at Bernie the inflation in the economy until the midterms. Then after that, folks, it's unfortunate that the rest of us have to suffer for the ignorance of the left sometimes, but
we all suffer.
We dealt with it under the mighty, glorious one,
the Messiah.
We had to suffer
Barack
under that.
Hussein, Obama.
Yeah.
Well, guys, listen, just pay attention to that. It's important. American people got screwed this weekend, and you can thank a Democrat again for that.
One Republican.
And not one Republican. Correct. Jim, let's get on to our first. I think you're going to go first, if I'm not wrong. Let's get into this. You're on.
Okay. I got this story off Newsmax, and I'm looking for cooperation on other networks, but it just came out. So I hope this is legit. If it's not legit, somebody tell me, and oops, I fell for it. But this is kind of what we've been talking about. And I just want to imagine, if you will,
in a world
for a moment
of imagination,
sitting at a prestigious steakhouse in Palm Beach, Florida, a hot spot for some of the most wealthy and famous: Donald Trump, Tiger Woods, Oprah Winfrey, James Patterson, Jimmy Buffett, and hundreds more. And imagine dining with a handful of men you've only read about. Some of them are worth millions. Others publish best-selling books, and some have held prominent positions in the White House. In essence, you're sitting at a 5-person table of VIPs. You're about to take a bite of your New York strip steak when one of the men, a top U.S. intelligence agent, slams a 164-page document in the middle of the table. This document, you soon find out, contains damning evidence that a network of politicians, corporations, and scientists has conspired together to promote the fear of global warming, despite evidence clearly stating no such global warming exists. The motive? $22 billion a year. Wow. Two guys, one coup have been talking about this. We just never had can't get any substantial evidence on this.
Correct.
To be clear, that's $22 billion of taxpayers' money, the amount that our government pays to stop the global warming epidemic. That comes out to $41,856 every minute.
What?
Or to put it in perspective, that is twice as much as what our government spends on securing our borders.
Yep.
Then imagine this top U.S. intelligence agent turning to you and asking you to join him on a mission to out those involved in the global warming lie.
Wow.
Doing so would cost a lot of money, a lot of time, and could cost you your reputation. But pretending you never saw the document and carrying on with your life would allow the scandal to continue and actually put lives at risk. So imagine if you were that table and the scenario I described happened to you. How would you respond? Yeah. My name is Tom Longo, and I've recently experienced this exact thing.
You're kidding.
In the following few pages, I am going to show you the alarming research in the document that was laid before me the night at Palms Beach. This man's not going to live long, I don't think.
Oh, God.
I will tell you why this network of politicians, corporations, and scientists tried to hide this research and how you can be part of the newly formed initiative with the aim of getting this research into the hands of every American. This research proves once and for all global warming is a sham perpetrated anyway, by a network of dirty government officials, greedy corporations, and bought-off scientific organizations. What we have been touting for how long now?
Yep.
How you respond will be up to you. I can guarantee you one thing. After reading the next few pages, you will never look at government officials the same way. You'll never trust what you hear in the media again, which we never do. In fact, you will become skeptical of any and all authority figures going forward. It's unfortunate, but betrayal you're going to discover today runs very deep in revealing the truth. As a scientist for over 20 years, so he's a scientist, I've always upheld the truth. I've worked with the University of Florida on down the line. I'm not gonna go into whole detail, but now you have to go out and he goes down all the way. He describes how he came to this, speeches and all that stuff, and then he discusses, first you should know who put this document in my hands. A man whom former Vice President Al Gore is personally attacking. His name is John Casey. John Casey is a former White House Space Program advisor, consultant to NASA headquarters. Pretty significant, right? And space shuttle engineer. He is now one of America's most successful climate change researchers and climate prediction expert. He is a former White House Space Program advisor, consultant to NASA headquarters, and space shuttle engineer, and he is now one of America's most successful climate. Okay, in short, John is the very definition of a government insider. He spent 35 years conducting classified research, examining confidential documents, and directing critical scientific programs. For example, the 1986, when the Space Shuttle Challenger tragically exploded, killing 7 crew members, John testified before Congress on the cause of the accident. So now keep in mind that for the moment, Capitol Hill and NASA trusted John's detailed and analytical approach and his engineering credentials so much they asked him to investigate the cause of one of our nation's greatest tragedies. After 35 years of serving his country, John quietly retired in Florida. He planned on living peacefully, spending time with his wife, children, and grandkids. But on one April afternoon in 2007, John made an unfortunate discovery that changed everything. The discovery would ultimately lead him to abandon his plans for retirement in order to support the cause that was bigger than himself. That was bigger than anything he had done in 35 years. In fact, this discovery would result in him becoming hated by all those who had once heralded him as a friend and an advisor. After this outright rejection, John realized that despite his science not changing, despite thousands of pages of irrefutable data, and despite millions of lives at risk, he was alone. The responsibility of letting the world know that this discovery is global warming is an outright sham. Using their own data, John has proven once and for all global warming is a sham and perhaps the most expensive and lethal sham in American history. We went over the numbers. Okay, so real quick, I want to finish this up because read it. It's on Newsmax. Go, please trust me because I hope I'm not boring anybody because this thing is scaring the hell out of me as I read it. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. John research ought to uncover different looming cataclysm that will ruin every nation that's not prepared, a calamity that has been accelerating for the last 17 years and brewing for over 200 years. The impending catastrophe is as natural as the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, and just as unstoppable. I'm talking about the tectonic shift in the world's economies that will send oil to over $300 a barrel, cause food prices to triple, and in some places make food completely unavailable, lead to violence erupting in the streets of your suburban neighborhood, cause governments to topple, nations to descend into chaos, and international wars to break out. So I want you to go ahead and read it because there's statistics that they show. And so I don't want to go into because I've already gone on pretty long. But the whole point of what they're trying to do is when they talked about those things that are changing, it's what we're spending on climate change.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's how much all these other people are making so much money on something that is how many times have you and I said this? Correct. It's not that we don't necessarily believe in climate change. It's just there's not enough data out there, and what the data is showing, they leave data out. Mm-hmm. So NASA's own data, the world has warmed by 0.36 degrees Fahrenheit over the last 35 years. I think you would agree that 0.36 degree increase in temperature over the last 35 years is hardly anything to get in a panic about. Granted, that does not mean the world is warmer, right? The problem with the argument is that we experienced the bulk of the warming between 1979 and 1998. We have actually dropped temperatures since. See, this is the data that we keep talking about. This is not, we haven't seen any global warming for 21 years. Wow. The reality is this: the world is 1.08 degrees cooler than it was in 1998.
Wow.
So, lie number 2, the oceans are getting warmer. Again, they show numbers between certain time periods, not.
Yep.
The fact the North Polar ice cap is increasing in size.
It is. Yep, you're right.
So, lie number 3, scientists agree humans are causing global warming fast. That's lie number 3. Shame on them, because that 97% figure is completely fabricated, and that 97 is former President Obama even tweeted on May 16th that 97% of scientists agree. Wow. Climate change is real, man-made, and dangerous. No, that's not true. In an outrage, a petition was signed by then 31,000 scientists that state there is no convincing scientific evidence that humans' release of carbon dioxide, methane, or other greenhouse gases is causing or will, in the unforeseeable future, cause catastrophic heating of the Earth's atmosphere.
Yep.
Okay. Now, again, I encourage you to read it, because I can go on this all day and it's going to piss everybody off as you read it. But the guy, again, I want to review. It's on Newsmax, and his name is Tom Luongo, and he's a former scientist with the University of Florida and currently run in the Ultimate Wealth Report program. And the other gentleman that he references is John Casey. Okay. He's the former White House NASA. So there is a push now, guys, that we're being lied to.
Yeah.
Again.
Well.
And this bill that just passed, a large majority of this bill is for climate change.
It's for climate change. Correct.
So,
that you are paying for. That you are going to pay for, people.
Is it a scary? It is a scary read, guys. I'm not lying to you. Please go out and look at it, because we will talk about it more.
I will. I hadn't heard about it, Jim, so I appreciate you bringing it to the show.
It's but now, obviously, they're going to be debunked, right? They're, CNN's probably going to have a story on why they're lying.
CNN won't even talk about it.
So
that's going to be the problem. You won't see it.
If CNN doesn't talk about it, they can't prove it wrong. Remember.
That's right. Remember that.
Anyway.
Yep. And if they do, they're probably going to just try to lie about it again, like they have been.
And Dale, 2 guys, 1 coup. How long have we been talking about
this? Oh, my gosh. Constantly. And 2 guys, 1 coup before it was 2 guys, 1 coup. Dale and Jim have been talking about it together for years and years and years. Yeah, I think we all know. But, Jim, that was incredible. So thank you for bringing that to the show, because I hadn't heard about it. And I'm going to go out and look at it, and those are frightening numbers. And it's all bullshit. We know it. It's all bullshit, and we know it. So, good, Jim. Well, let's get on to our next segment. What do you think?
Yep.
Mine is sort of equally scary, but nowhere near the depths of hell that Jim just told us we're diving into. But
Dale's going to bring us up.
I don't know if this brings you up, but it certainly isn't a new spaghetti recipe, Jim, but at all. But this is still concerning, right? Because this is going to start happening to people everywhere, and this could be your grandma. that I'm about to talk about. An 80-year-old Washington State woman, which falls right into our interview coming up with Joy from Moms for Liberty out of the state of Washington. This did not happen in her county, though. Has been banned from using her local YMCA's public pool after she expressed discomfort with a biological male in the women's locker room as young girls were undressing. That makes sense, doesn't it? That's some sort of concern. She was in the shower when she heard a male voice and peeked out to find a biological male in a women's swimsuit engaging with little girls who were undressing. The biological male... Yeah, what? Go on. What?
I said,
yeah, like another avenue to let freaks in. A biological male was reportedly with girls from the day camp overseeing their bathroom activities. Addressing the Port Townsend City Council on Monday, Julia Jaman, Jaman, I think is how you say her name, a resident of Port Townsend of about 40 years, described the situation she had been in after her regular swim at the Mountain Valley Pool. Quote, in an effort by the city and the YMCA to apply the neo-cultural gender rules at Mountain View pool dressing, shower room facilities, women and children are being put at risk, she said. She also said that she had been showering after her July 26th swim at the pool when she heard a man's voice in the women's dressing room. She said out there is a man in a women's, she said she saw in a man in a women's swimsuit watching little girls pull down their bathing suits in order to use the toilets in the dressing room. In an email from the YMC's marketing and communications manager to the Post Millennial, that's where this story came from, and it's been around the internet the last week or so. You may have seen it, you may not have. They said that the staff member was not engaging with these girls, but rather escorting them to the dressing room. According to the Port Townsend Free Press, Jaman, who had been in the shower when she realized what was happening, hidden behind thin sheer shower curtains, asked this person, revealed to go by the name Clementine Adams. She asked, do you have a penis? Is what she asked. None of your business, Adams reportedly responded. Get out of here right now, Jaman said. He said, you're discriminating and you can't use the pool anymore, and I'm calling the police, is what he said. I say he. YMCA Aquatics manager Bowen DeLuna told Jaman after she requested that Adams leave the room. In an email from the YMCA's marketing and communications manager, they said that Jaman was not permanently suspended for this incident alone, but rather due to reportedly violating the Olympic Peninsula YMCA Code of Conduct, specifically using disrespectful words or gestures towards YMCA staff or others, and abusive, harassing, and or obscene language or gestures towards YMCA staff or others. The manager said that the facility has experienced past issues with her, but that this incident in the changing room was unforgivable and extremely harmful. She is the one being chastised.
But it's okay for a grown man to watch little girls change. Okay.
A grown man with a penis wearing a women's swimsuit.
It's YMCA, folks.
That's it. As Jaman attempted to leave the building, DeLuna reportedly told Jaman, Jim's, if you're listening, Jim's doing the YMCA because, as you may have
Village
heard
people
from the early days, that is one of Jim's favorite all-time songs.
Anyway, I digress.
Another YMCA staffer reportedly blocked Jaman from leaving, to which Jaman said, bullshit. I'm going to the police right now. I want help and I need it immediately. Jaman went next door to the police. So right next door, like a lot of YMCAs have, are close to police stations. They are. Like I've noticed that. I don't know, growing up, that there was like my hometown, there was one that was kind of right next to the police station. And it seems weird that is, but okay. Jamin went next door to the police and later received a call back from the Port Townsend police officer, Mark Titternes. How would you say that last name? Mark
Titternes.
Titternes? Moving on. In a police call report obtained by the Port Townsend Free Press, Titternes said that Jamin had an emotional response to a strange male being in the bathroom and helping a young girl take off her bathing suit.
Pedophile is what you call them. But
yeah,
anyway.
They spelled it wrong here. This call report also contained call records made by an anonymous person from the YMCA who told police that Clementine, that's the he-she, was in the bathroom with a child in the day camp, and Julia asked if she had a penis and started screaming at her to get out. In another call, this person said that Jamin had been asked to leave and is refusing. Yet another call said that Jamin was screaming at employees and calling names and refusing to leave. Jamin had also spoke with Wendy Bart, the CEO of the Olympic Peninsula YMCA, who stood by the actions of her employees. Bart said that a staff member claimed Jamin said to Adams, "You're getting to stick your," use the language, "you're getting to stick your fucking penis in those little girls," is what she said.
Oh my God.
According to the Substack, The Distance, Jamin denied ever saying this, noting, "I am an 80-year-old woman and I do not talk like that. There is no signage informing women the shower room is now all gender and what that means, nor have parents been informed of what they can expect with these new policies," Jamin told City Council. Guys, the point of this whole story is this. She, an 80-year-old woman, is now physically banned. Well, they don't say permanently, but has been suspended from where she goes to exercise every day at the YMCA because a man with a penis was undressing little girls while they were going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Whether the guy is truly a pedophile or not, I can't say. But come on, guys. This is effing ridiculous.
Yep.
You know, this is borderline.
And if
ridiculous.
there's any parents out there that think that's okay,
yeah,
CPS, take the children away from them.
Take the children away from them and lock the parents
Pedophile's dream.
Yep.
And again, this guy has not been accused of being a pedophile, but I'm sorry if you're a grown man going into a woman's shower and you're helping a little girl take off her bathing suit. No.
What father is okay with this? I mean, not just parents in general, but just fathers and daughters, right? There's that father-daughter bond. You have one, I have one. It's how our daughters are grown up. I don't want a man in their dressing room. Do you know what I'm saying? They're grown up. They're adults.
Where's the outrage?
Where's the outrage?
I mean, I hope it comes. I know.
Well,
let's give it some time, and I hope it comes. But it better.
And even if Granny did speak like that, so what? Again, it's words. You're comparing somebody's words to an actual man with a penis undressing girls in a locker room, and the person who said words is now in trouble again. You know, that's what it's come down to.
And they can go into these YMCA bathrooms.
Yeah.
This person can go into the men's locker room.
Yep.
Change in a privacy shower.
Yep.
And wear the woman if he wants to. But you're a male. Go to the men's bathroom.
You're a male.
That's it. That's
it.
Horrible.
You're always 100% going to be a male.
Try that. Try doing that in the Midwest.
Yeah, no kidding. Just out west. You're right, man.
Some of the Midwest fathers will. That's only going to happen once.
That's right. It's going to happen once, and that's it. You won't have to worry about surgically removing your penis. That's all I'm saying. Jim, we've got our interview with Joy Gjersvold, the Moms for Liberty, Kitsap County, Washington chapter chair, coming up here. I don't need to preempt it really by saying anything, Jim. I don't think we really need to. Just listen to her because she's got a lot to say. She's very informative. She comes from experience in this, and she tells some pretty personal stories too, which she shared, which didn't have to do. We appreciate it. So this is what we're up against, guys. That's why we keep playing this. School's about ready to start. You're going to hear a lot more from a lot more of these Moms for Liberty people because it's super important. And the indoctrination of our children has not stopped. It has not slowed down. It's only grown stronger.
Yep.
And so they need support. Anyways, listen to this. We'll be back, wrap up the show when it's done. Well, we welcome to the show Joy Gjersvold. I said that correct, right? Did I say that right? She is a mom of 2 wonderful kids, a son and a daughter, and she just started the adventure known as empty nesting, which that's got to be tough in itself. We'll probably talk about that. She's a former high school teacher, turned full-time mom, and a proud Navy spouse. She has served as a U.S. Navy family ombudsman and ombudsman trainer, and she's been an advocate for families and students in education since leaving the teaching profession in 2004. Joy, you started the first chapter of Moms for Liberty in enemy territory out in Washington, the state of Washington, a deep blue state of Washington, in her home county of Kitsap, where she and her chapter members serve a mix of civilian and active duty Navy, Marine, and Coast Guard families, which is phenomenal. Her chapter is celebrating their first anniversary on Saturday. Congratulations on that. And she looks forward to many, many years in service and outreach to her local community with some of the best parents in the state of Washington. And that is probably 100% true. Joy, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
We are so happy. Joy's been a big advocate of the show too. So I want to first of all thank her for that.
Of course.
We really do appreciate it. And as we have been doing lately, and ever since we first were introduced to Joy at the Joyful Warrior Summit for Moms for Liberty down in Tampa, we have been interviewing a lot of Moms for Liberty chapter chairs and members, each one of them with their own unique story, background, issues going on in their own public school systems. And they're all 100% of them, and you're no different. A fighter who is willing to take bullets and arrows and rocks thrown at you and whatever it takes to protect children, whatever it takes. So, and you're
not at all like what the enemy says you are.
Of course, none of them.
Phenomenal people.
You need to hear that sometimes because you feel. I mean, I'm not going to defend myself all the time. You either know who I am or take time to know who I am, or you don't.
Correct.
But it doesn't mean that it doesn't get old and it doesn't wear on you.
I know.
Volunteer burnout is a very real thing.
It is. I'm sure it is. And so, and it takes a certain person to do it too. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. You gotta have thick skin, and you have to have that mentality that you just let things roll off you. But it's like anything you hear over and over and over and over again.
And I didn't used to be like that when I was younger. I couldn't have done this when I was younger because it would have hurt. Every single thing would have hurt.
Yep, I bet. So, well, thank you for doing that work too, because that's the hard work. That's really helpful,
I can't imagine doing
especially where you're doing it. Isn't it crazy now? Right? Yeah. Especially where you're at. Yeah.
Every day is a new adventure and crazy.
I bet it is, and we want to hear all about it. But first, I want to know what made you get into it? What made you start it? What was the first? I mean, was there? A lot of people talk about the masking was really the initial thing once COVID hit. What was yours? What started it?
Well, it was kind of twofold for me, Dale. A friend who is actually someone from high school who lives in Illinois sent me a link to a story from the Moms for Liberty page on Facebook. I'd never heard of them before. Just because I had left Facebook for a while, it was toxic and it was a good break. So for several months I was off of it. And look at me now. And right in the thick of it.
Got it.
And so that's how I started to hear about it. And I hit this point where I kept saying someone needs to do something. And then I realized I'm someone.
Yep.
Hello, Joy. You need to listen to yourself.
Yep.
And then in addition to that, at the end of our daughter's junior year of high school, so about a year ago, she came to us, and I had wanted to pull her out for a long time and homeschool her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's a lot like her mom. She can dig her heels in and be a little stubborn.
Sure.
And so it needed to be her idea.
Yeah.
And she came to us at the end of her junior year and said, Mom, Dad, I don't have a voice in public education anymore.
Wow.
If she had an opposite opinion on anything, she was vilified, made fun of. She even had a teacher who told her that she was wrong.
Wow.
And I cried that my kid, who loves school, who had already had a struggle, and we might get to that later, but who had had a struggle already, so we had taken her out of our home school district and moved her.
Okay.
And it spoke volumes to me. So we circled our wagons. I had so much fun teaching her last year. It was great. And she actually started the chapter with me and was our chapter secretary for her senior year.
Oh, wow.
And she was a student advocate, and she was living civics in action, and civics was one of our classes last year.
Nice.
So it was perfect. It was, I'll never forget it. It's memories that I just will never forget.
Awesome.
For sure. For sure. Wow.
So,
It's the,
so we took something sad and made it happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
What I like to call what's going on, it's a new and acceptable bullying.
Oh,
is to get the ones who disagree, and it's and it just irritates the heck out of me when I see this, because you see it all over. It's a new way to get bullied.
Yep.
Jim, you're absolutely nailing it, and I can bring in Finna's story on top of that. Finna was bullied to the point of contemplating suicide. She had a plan. She had everything. And the school district failed her. Her counselors failed her. They lost all of the paperwork. I mean, it was just, it was awful. And you know how we hear a lot of stories where parents are being cut out of what's happening to their children, especially with gender ideology, but mental health and other things.
Mm-hmm.
Her counselor called me and just said, "Hey, Joy, you really need to talk to Finna tonight." Okay, about what? Well, I can't tell you.
What?
Yeah.
Could not tell you that.
And that's a mandatory reportable by law. She should have contacted medical people. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
You know, and then say, hey, we're worried. And so thankfully, I've been through assist suicide prevention training, and so has my husband. But it hit close to home. My husband has lost shipmates to suicide.
Sure.
But thank goodness we were on top of it, and we could take care of it. Because I don't know that she'd still be here. So
that's terrible.
That's got to stop. It has to stop.
Thank God you were there. Thank God you were involved parents and you, And she was who she was too. Say, you know.
Exactly. And Jim, needless to say, I have a zero tolerance policy for bullies. I just, I can't stand it. And I can see him a mile away. I can spot him.
And we'd be that way for bullying the other way too. That's
absolutely.
Who we are. That's who we are as people. We think bullying's wrong all across, but the other side, oh no, you can hate as much as you want on that side, but you can't, and it's
exactly.
It's just
and their
disgusting.
way of battling us is through hatred. They're total hypocrites.
Total hypocrites. Yep. I want to, the party of love and acceptance, right? I mean, it's like
it's not, and that's a joke.
Not.
We all say that.
It's a joke. We all say that. Yeah, it's definitely a joke. Yeah. Well, I am so happy that it turned out that way, because it doesn't for so many.
It doesn't,
and it doesn't. It does.
And that's also a motivation for me. I never want a parent to feel the way that we did, whether it's about the gender ideology, taking mental health medication, whatever it is. I never want parents to have to go through that. I don't want a child to go through that.
Nope, not at all. Not at all. We talk about it a lot on the show, about the puberty blockers, about gender identity and all that. And then the suicide rates later after
Yes.
they've taken those, and it's just the fact
I
that
refer to it as medical mutilation because they're hurting them, they're injuring them on the inside, but they also encourage them to mutilate their bodies on the outside, and
that's right.
Gives me goosebumps as a mom. I can't. Your kids were made just the way they were supposed to be, with all their faults, all their good things. Let them be kids.
Let them be kids. That's all. Just let them be kids.
And love them through it.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of them not letting you know about the conversation, is that still a massive issue going on in Kitsap County, like public schools? Are they adopting this whole if a child comes to them and says, I'm not sure what I am. Well, you're a boy, you must be a girl. And so then is that kind of stuff happening there?
It is happening. It absolutely is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And we are one of the 17 states in the United States that has the lowest age of consent for medical and mental health and sexual care.
Is it 14?
13.
Oh,
13.
You're kidding. There's 16 other states that have 13 years old as medical consent.
that are in that wheelhouse where they believe that that's okay. And we actually are very interested to see how this plays out in the next couple of weeks because I actually printed this up. The White House just put out their 2 new actions to address youth mental health crisis, and every single bit of it is in schools. Every bit of it. There is nothing in here about notifying parents, about having parents part of the process or anything. And it's frightening. And we have actually our middle school that our kids went to is just up the block. And it was one of the first clinics to have a clinic in a middle school.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple clinics in high schools and stuff. We have 5 districts in my county.
Yeah.
And the latest clinic that opened is extremely troubling to us because they opened it in a high school that tends to have a lot of tribal kids.
Okay.
And that worries us because we know that they're targeting kids of low income. We know that they're targeting kids with autism that can't, pick up on social cues. They love the attention. It's very scary, but it's part of their playbook.
It is.
It's part of their playbook.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
And they'll say that I'm racist because I don't want a clinic up there for tribal kids, and that's not it at all. That is not it at all. It's the
you're
opposite.
harming children because you don't want this clinic there. That's what they say. Crazy.
It would be fine if they were, sending out information to parents saying, "Hey, there's a low-income clinic here. Here are the programs that you can sign your child up for."
Not the case. Not the case.
It's
they
not
don't do
happening.
that.
All you have to do is say something to a teacher, a staff member, administrator, and boom, that whole process is started.
Ridiculous.
And it's so frightening. And the fact that parents, I know you both know many stories, as we all do, where parents are just concerned. Some of them even, because they want their child to be safe, will go along to get along a little bit.
Exactly.
But they want their children to get mental health intervention.
Yeah.
And then they're removed from the custody of the parents, and then they end up committing suicide because the core issue was not dealt with.
Correct.
Right.
And the people who should make that decision are the parents, not the teachers.
100%
That's the thing.
Of the time.
None of these, I don't hate teachers. I love them. And we have many, many very courageous teachers here.
Yes,
and one of them I can actually tell you about now because she's come out, so to speak. She's changing professions.
Yes.
But the ones that want to harm children and keep them and teach them that your parents are, outdated, old-fashioned, they don't love you, they don't understand you, are committing child abuse.
Yeah.
And what they're doing is they're setting us up at home. My whole thing, my kids, we've always said, you can come and talk to us about anything. Anything. We don't even have to agree on it.
Yeah.
But if there was another medical emergency and the EMTs look at me and say, Mrs. Gjersvold, what other medications are your kids on? And I don't know what other medications they're on, they could kill my child.
Yeah, that's another factor. That is exactly right.
I'm trying to look at this big picture. you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I can't think of a better way to show children that you love them and that you support whatever uncomfortable. I mean, we all went through puberty. I hated middle school. I think everyone should get to skip
most kids do. Yeah. I agree.
just the hormones and the feelings and the everything.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a better way to show kids that you hear them and that you see them going through that than, hey, how about some family therapy going together?
Exactly.
So that mom and dad can hear what you're thinking, what you're feeling. But instead, they just want mom and dad out of everything.
They want it out.
Because
they're ignoring decades and decades of child development science.
Yeah, that's right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they want you to follow the science, but they don't.
I know. And I don't even personally think that it matters what the family looks like. You could be a gay couple with a family. You could be mom and dad with a family, whatever. They need that nuclear bond to be able to know that that is always safe. Always.
Correct. Always.
And
yeah.
I mean, what if the child decides, you know, a year into taking testosterone, this isn't working for me, but they've been taught mom and dad hate me. Now where do I go? Do they become runaways and homeless? What do they do?
What do they do?
And
it's just
it's sad.
It's
sad.
So much bigger.
It is. It is.
It's sad with the whole thing because what they like to do is, if you look at low income families, families with that, a lot of them are dysfunctional families. They're maybe the father's not there, or the father is there, but they're abusive, or the mother, you know, whatever. It's just not, and that's why family is so important. Joy, one of the questions that I like to ask the Moms for Liberty, because we learned a lot when we were down there, and it was a great summit. And is one of the new things that I saw was school boards. And I thought that was pretty. Do you have any current that are serving on the school board right now that you would say is an advocate for what we are trying to pass, Moms for Liberty, and parents and kids education? Or is this what we're trying to do in getting candidates to run to get on the board?
In 2 of our 5 school districts, I would say that we have one that definitely is an advocate and works for the people. He is vilified by everyone else on his board. They can't stand him. He actually has brought lawsuits against his fellow board members over stuff. In another district, we have a jellyfish. He's a great man. Personally, you know, outside of that, I want to say that he's a man of honor, but he hasn't shown us that. Does that make sense? He caves.
Sure. Yep.
He doesn't speak up loud enough. The rest of them, no. We are completely outnumbered right now.
Wow.
Last November, we had the chance to, I mean, it was one of those, oh my gosh, we have the chance to put write-ins in. And our group wasn't the one that actually put those write-ins forward, but we did endorse people.
Yeah.
One of them is a black dad over in our furthest south school district. He is blue collar to the bone. What you see is what you get. He's approachable. He knows the law. He understands how school boards work, and he loves his kids.
Yeah.
And by the way, they're mixed race.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I have never experienced such horrid racism in my life.
Oh my gosh.
That's the school district I taught in, and so I know behind the curtain what the union can be like, and it's a mafia. It's awful.
Yeah.
They intimidate people, they target people, and that's what they did to Justin. And he kept going. But what's really interesting is our 2, and then we had one just north of me. Both of those parents as write-ins who made the decision 2 weeks out from the election garnered the most votes for write-ins ever.
Wow.
Okay.
So our political groups, our districts here, were calling them and saying, "What did you do?" And literally, the answer is for our mom that ran. It was 5 or 6 moms and a Cricut machine to make signs, right? And Justin kind of did the same thing. He's like, "Here's a little bit of money I can throw in for signage." Someone stepped up as his campaign manager. And we just did it. And they knocked on doors and they met people. And that was the thing. They were approachable. But to think that they're not it because they're not in politics. Well, first of all, it's nonpartisan in Washington for school board,
Right.
as it should be.
As it should be.
But to do that is just ridiculous. And as far as the future goes, Jim, we have the chance in 2023 to flip 15 seats county-wide.
That would
so
be
that
huge.
is what we are spending the next year doing. So
Nice.
We're starting out with another training with Leadership Institute. The first one will be Get Out the Vote. And then I'm hoping to work with Leadership Institute to bring the Are You Ready to Run that we attended as one of our breakout sessions in Tampa as an online workshop so that they can go through that before they say, yes, I'm going to declare, so that they really know what they are up against.
Sure.
And then we'll just go from there. It's our intention to be able to flip those seats. And I'm going for 15. I will be happy with 3 or 1.
Exactly.
I mean, it'll be a win, right?
A win's a win. That's right.
So, exactly. And then they'll know with all of these people that we're putting forward that we mean business.
Correct.
And, people think they're political because they're endorsing a school board member. It's not partisan.
Right.
And eventually, trying to get the Moms for Liberty endorsement is going to be something that people want. Like, they're going to be gunning for it.
Correct.
They're going to want that.
I think it's already started.
Yep.
It has. It absolutely has. And I love that we have a process. I love that each and every individual chapter gets to do what is best for them based on what's going on in their county. The idea that we get marching orders is just ridiculous.
Oh, God.
I can't imagine Tiffany and Tina being those type of people anyway.
Yeah,
like
we've talked to them. You've talked to them. Yeah. They're not. You're right. Those two are not getting marching orders from somebody.
No, they aren't. Because they realize every place is different, and that's one of the reasons I loved it. And why I was drawn to it.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. We're glad you were drawn to it.
Yeah, it's fun. Our dads are amazing, and having Chris here on Monday night for our chapter meeting.
I was going to ask, how was that? We hope to have a chance to. We talked to him briefly at the summit, and hope to have a chance to talk to him on our podcast because his story
he
is
would
just
love to.
Amazing. So I can't even imagine. That was probably very. A good highlight for the group, having him.
Oh, it was. Well, first of all, it was our largest turnout that we've had, which is fantastic. And over half of the turnout was dads, grands, uncles, brothers.
And that's what it takes.
Got to have them.
Got to have them. You're right. You got to have them.
I know. We do. And it's really fun. My husband actually asked him the question about, are there statistics about, we were talking about the low income, high-risk family factor in all of this.
Correct.
And he said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't remember the number now that he gave, but he had a percentage. He said most of them are broken homes that these kids are coming from.
That's how they
haven't
get them.
had that nurturing that they need.
Right.
And they don't. And the other side doesn't do anything to help with that.
They
just basically
say,
stay there,
and you'll be fine.
Stay there. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
And
but then they're not there for the fallout, the medical fallout, the mental health fallout, the suicides, all of that.
All of
that.
Well,
the suicides are our fault because we're not accepting them.
Of course.
That's how it's always spun, and it's not true.
It's not true at all. It's not true at all.
Nope.
Joy, can you tell me, you brought up briefly about the teacher that came out. I'd love to hear about. So, what about her?
Sounds so funny.
I know, I love it. But, it almost feels that way.
It does because it takes courage.
It does take
absolutely.
Courage.
It takes incredible courage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, her name is Wendy Baker. I absolutely love her. She is married. She's a law enforcement wife.
Nice.
And that's the direction that she's going. She's going to be a 911 operator.
Oh, nice.
We are so excited.
Very good.
It's a perfect job for her because she's the voice you want to hear on the other side of the phone.
Nice.
She loves kids, she loves family, and she supports law enforcement. So I can't think of anyone better.
Correct.
She dared a few months or even weeks before they decided to do away with the mask mandate. All she said, and we were still on Zoom at the time for our board meetings, was that masks needed to go. They needed to be made optional. that she needed to see her students' faces and they needed to see hers. That's what she said.
Yep.
That was her crime.
Yep.
She was absolutely targeted and silenced. She made the personal decision to take some leave, talking to her medical professionals and stuff for her own health.
Yes.
Which was good. It gave her time to think and kind of step back. But that simple act of courage, we gave her own hashtag, We Are Wendy.
Wow.
We sent her flowers and thanked her for being the first teacher here that had the courage to say, enough.
Yep.
We're damaging kids. And I need that relationship with them as well to be a good teacher.
Correct.
And as a result, they I don't want to share too much just because it's her story to share. And I hope that she goes out with a bang. I told her, I said, can we turn it into a fundraiser for the chapter when you tell the district bye-bye?
Bye-bye. Perfect.
Yeah. But they wanted to ship her off to another school. They told her that basically that they didn't trust her anymore. Well, then why are you keeping her on then?
Yeah.
If she can't be trusted.
Yeah.
And they made things up that she had done. They tried to, it was ridiculous. But she is a warrior. She took every one of those arrows and she did it with grace and pride. She's our hero. We love her.
Good.
And when she announced on her personal page last night what her next adventure is going to be, I commented and said how much we love her and that we're so proud that she took a stand and being supportive. And she thanked us because we have stuck by her.
Yeah.
We've shown when we don't just say that we will support our good teachers.
You do it. You do it. Exactly.
One of the things I wanted to ask, because we do have a lot of good teachers across this country.
Absolutely.
Even though when you sit there and say we have some bad ones, they want to hear that. And then they say, oh, they said all teachers are bad. No, that's not what we're saying. But what my concern is, because if we look at some of these exit polls, if you will, where teachers are leaving the education, it's always the other side saying, oh, this is your fault. This is why Moms for Liberty is causing this, or people like that are causing. And then you look at the reason they're leaving, and it's behavior, progressive politics, and the low wages. Those are the reasons why they're leaving.
In that order.
So what my concern is, obviously the teachers that we need in there to help this fight, to stop this, what you do, because we can't say this in terms of because we'll get banned from certain places, but it's what you do when you take your dog to PetSmart. That's how we say it. So how do we get those teachers who are still teaching, who don't like what's going on, how do we get them more our support to help them fight while they're teachers?
I think the number one thing you can do is just keep trying to communicate with them. When you see them do something, no matter how big or small it is, that is courageous, even if they've done it silently, recognize them for that. Tell them thank you, that you see them. Take them a coffee, bake them some cookies, do something like that even. Anne Marie and I, Pat Blackburn, our chapter chair coordinator, says that we're running an underground railroad for teachers up here. Because we organize meetings and gatherings for them so that they know that they're not alone, because that's part of it too. They really feel like it's just me. I can't stand up.
Exactly.
And the catch with that is that they ask us to host it in places where their vehicles and stuff can't be seen from main streets. Isn't that sad?
That is
because they aren't worried about it. Is, and what they're most worried about is the backlash from their administrators and fellow teachers and the union. If that does not speak volumes about the control that they have,
exactly,
they're just bullies. Again, Jim, it goes back to bullying all the time, every level.
Yeah. When you compared them to mafia, I think you're not wrong. I honestly think you're not wrong.
I don't find joy in saying that, and I don't like saying it. It's truth.
It's truth.
Well,
when you coerce people, when you trespass on their property to intimidate them, when you have friends that you send out to intimidate them or to spread lies, you are not a good person, and you are participating in an organized crime fashion.
It reminds me of Scientology in a way. I mean, if everybody's out there in Scientology,
it is. I know what you're trying to say.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Is.
Like they kind of they brainwash you, and then they intimidate you if you speak up.
Intimidate you to keep that. Yep, exactly.
Yep.
And
it's insane.
What the other side doesn't understand with moms, parents in general, they grossly underestimate how we love our kids and the power that we have.
Exactly.
I know that I'm probably going to get blasted by other people for saying this, but Tucker Carlson nailed it when he said after last November when Virginia flipped that, big memo here, guys on the left. This is the one demographic you never tick off.
Exactly. And that's true.
Because and it isn't about being a Karen or all these things they love to call us. It's about being a loving mother.
Exactly.
We joke about the mama bear thing on sweatshirts and t-shirts and mugs. Yeah. But it's true. It's when you cross that line, all bets are off.
Any good parent would your children you would die for immediately.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. So if
we will do this at all costs.
So if that's your mindset that I will die for my children, what you're doing is nothing to me. I mean, I will fight that till the end of time.
Absolutely.
Because it's worth it, Jim, you got another question or?
Other than when we look at the other side, because they are, they're haters. They are evil. They are absolutely evil. And it's because people like us, people like Moms for Liberty, you speak out for what you believe in and you state what you believe in, and it's right there. You look up what Moms for Liberty is, you look up what we are, you can see that's what we do. That's who we are. And you're not going to intimidate us. You're going to try. You're going to threaten. You're going to do all this stuff, and it's going to threaten us. But one of the things that we have to do, and corporations need to do this as well, is when you are pushed and because they go after you, just like you said, the mafia just sends out their brigade. Look at the decision on Roe v. Wade. Look at what it's caused, right? No one cares about the economy anymore.
Exactly.
So we get this, and it's not much of a question, but it's like us we've got to keep the fight. We can't let those voices overshadow ours. Let them yell, let them scream.
Yep.
Because I can tell you right now, every negative thing I've ever heard about Moms for Liberty, I've yet to meet one person who is from Moms for Liberty that is like that. I love you all, and I will defend you, and I will support you every step of the way. This is nothing. This is not doing anything to Dale and I, right? We have our job that we work. This is something that we want to do on the side, and we have found Moms for Liberty, and we love it. And we are going to be that voice.
You're going to make me cry. Stop
We've never met so many people. And we met a lot of them down at the summit, which we can talk about a little bit too, because I'd like to. But we met a lot of them down at the summit. 500 plus of them. I mean, I don't know how many people we talked to, and man, they're just wonderful people, and they have the same. What's good about it too, because you get a lot of big groups, and sometimes you have varying messages, right? Things are being kind of talked. Not this group. On point, direct, know exactly what you're fighting for. You're willing to do anything to get to that point. And the message is spot on. So let's talk about the summit a little bit, because I'd like to.
Yeah. Oh, I have a funny story kind of piggybacking that too.
Please, you go ahead.
So one of the members of the press corps, just try to make a long story short, she was so focused. She'd come at you as, I really want to understand. That's why I'm here.
I think we know who this is.
I want to know what Laura.
Yep.
Okay. So she cornered a few of us at a dinner one night.
Oh boy.
And then one of my friends from California chapter, said, "Hey, you guys are dealing with some stuff up there that I think that she could benefit from hearing from if you guys want to talk to her."
Yeah.
So Anne-Marie and I made the choice to sit down. We spent an hour of our time with her.
Wow.
And we gave her policy numbers. We showed her exactly where the websites are for our school districts up here, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept coming back to, well, how do you feel about people who really believe that January 6th was this, or that don't like abortion, or all, and I'm like, so Anna Marie is sitting there giving her a policy, and I'm tapping my fingernails on the table, right, because I'm mad.
Yep.
And finally, I looked at her, I leaned forward, and I said, why are you asking all the wrong questions for where you were at?
Yeah.
Please observe. We were sitting outside where the 3 rooms were there in the main area for breakout sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I said, point to one of these agendas in one of these rooms that says January 6th, abortion, Trump, any of that. That's not why we're here.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
And yes, we all bring personal things to the table, but we left that at the door.
Yep.
We were there to learn and to feel
purpose. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And we were there to feel like we're not fighting a war all by ourselves. It was homecoming. We were with family.
Exactly.
From all walks of life. And the other thing that she kept saying is, well, everybody's white.
Oh my gosh.
I can't roll my eyes hard enough.
Oh my gosh. I can't either.
Read the room. Were you there when Catalina did her speech? Were you there when Ben Carson was there? Did you see all the Hispanic people that are in our chapters?
Yep, exactly.
Or, I mean, we have people from the gay community that sit on some of our exec boards throughout the nation. Come on.
Yep, exactly.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Joy,
wow.
I can tell you right now, Dale and I had the unfortunate ability to meet the media. And
I know
we have ran into it, and we sat there, and we're in this room with a bunch at the very first day when Governor DeSantis was speaking, and we had this woman look at us. We had this woman look at us. I'm assuming it's her. She said,
probably was.
She says, "So, are the 2 people that started this from Florida?" So we both looked at her and said, you're here to report this, and you don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
They were there to vilify Moms for Liberty. They were not there. They were not there as journalists to give their side of the story.
Nope.
And that's when Dale and I realized everything we hear about, we saw it firsthand. We saw it firsthand, and we're like,
I watched your podcast about it.
This isn't going to happen.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, thank you for
this is
listening.
not. We thought from this point on, this is not going to happen, because whenever somebody saw our media passes, they stood away. We always said, no, we're the good media.
We're all media. We are.
Yeah.
You know, and because we are afraid of having things that we say twisted.
Of course, because they will.
And the very first interview that I did was with Andrew from Politico. Mm-hmm. He did such a good job.
Good.
He was a reporter.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't share what he thought. He reported on what he experienced and what he saw.
That's all.
Right.
And let everybody else make their decisions, because that's journalism.
That's journalism.
We're more journalists than they were.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely believe it. I would have loved to have just been a fly on the wall watching you 2 look at each other going, oh my word.
It was the most unreal situation I've been in.
It is.
And I'm like, these people they're so evil, or just so in their paycheck.
They are.
Their paycheck matters more than the truth. It just drives me nuts, and I couldn't stand it. I'm like, Jim, we gotta get the hell out of this room. Like, I can't be in the media room with these people. Yeah. Like, I just can't stand here and
they look their nose down at us.
It becomes a thing where you don't want you 2 labeled like they are. Right?
Nope. That's why we're joining chapters.
Very clear.
That's why next year at the summit, we are not media. We are actually chapter members. And then I don't want.
But we do have some people that still want us to be media.
Yeah.
But we're also going to be. We're also going to be there as members.
I can honestly say that leading up to the summit, some of the conversations that happened between chapter chairs was about security and about the media. Yeah, those were big on our mind, and we knew it would be taken care of.
Sure.
And boy, was it! I have to tell you, coming from a state where our governor has hogtied our law enforcement officers and passed laws that let people get away with, almost get away with murder.
Yeah.
And I have family in law enforcement, and it's so hard to watch them have to navigate their job. But we felt safer in Tampa at that hotel than we have felt in months in our own town.
They had a very nice security force there.
Oh, it was phenomenal. We went out of our way to thank them because from the hotel security to the police force, the state troopers, Tampa PD, all of them were so wonderful.
Yeah.
They were nice and approachable.
We had a couple security guy that's kept waving at us, and you guys still causing trouble and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they were.
You trouble.
Yeah, they were. You're right. You're right about that, and that's. I mean, I'm super fortunate to live in that state, right? So that I can't right now. It's a great time to live in the state. You know, next couple of years will be the great time to live in the state when DeSantis wins. I know plugging things, but he's amazing, and his wife is amazing. What a family! Oh, they're like royalty in Florida.
Wasn't Casey fun to watch as she's up there being a mom with a 5-year-old and totally having an interview?
Yep.
I was like, that's why we're good at what we do.
Not skipping a beat. Not skipping a beat. I know.
No, she didn't.
I don't think Ron could have done it. I don't think Ron could have done it.
I know, you're so funny. But here's the thing. Yeah. I think that Governor DeSantis recognizes the role that the two of them play in their children's lives. And another thing that I loved is that they take their kids with them.
I know.
To certain things. Yeah. And I think it's good both to show them what mom and dad's job is right now.
Yep.
But also that it's not scary and that they are parents first.
Correct.
And that was made evident. That was so evident. We were part of the fangirl club for DeSantis.
Well,
love him.
So was Jim.
And and we have such a cruddy governor that it's night and day. And so I posted while he was speaking. Yeah. Please, Florida, my Washington.
Yeah.
one of my most favorite politicians ever.
It was great.
One of my most favorite people of history ever was Ronald Reagan. And I got that Reagan feeling listening to him speak and then seeing Casey, his wife. And it's like, I came home and I told Lori, I said, with as much as Mrs. Jim.
It's all right.
As much as we're trying not to say her, but
I know.
I came home and told my wife and my family that you have to listen to these two. They will give you that Reagan vibe, and they will, and they do. And I never thought I'd see another one ever in my lifetime, and I think I'm seeing it right now.
And he didn't read from his notes verbatim and stuff either. He knows his programs and what he is doing so well that he can have a conversation if you walked up to him in the grocery store and started asking questions about an education policy or something.
That we were sitting right next to his press secretary that was standing there, and she looked up. So we got to meet her, and she was great and all that, and. Fingers crossed, maybe an interview someday. But anyways,
we're hoping.
I love it too. But
you're not the View, so I bet.
I bet he's saying yes. I know. Oops.
Did I just say that?
Oopsie daisy. Yeah.
If you saw what they did to Ben Carson. Ben Carson for that. How can you support Trump? How can you support? It's like, oh my God.
It was crazy, but.
Reducing a human being to the color of their skin is the lowest, basest way to
it's racist.
First off,
it's pure racism.
I can't imagine, especially such a brilliant mind and such a kind and loving human being.
Exactly. But anyway, so
they must be
it must be. So she tells us, she goes, "Do you know he was supposed to be done like 15 minutes ago, but when he gets the crowd going, he just keeps going." And going. So that speech was supposed to be a little bit shorter, but he's like, nah, this is great.
Really?
Yeah, this is great. And
he's
just
my gosh. No, really, keep going.
We'll sit here all day. But Casey DeSantis is the same way. And she wasn't reading anything. Yep. She's up there sitting in the chair talking to Tiffany with her child next to her and
trying to control a 5-year-old.
And did it with grace and she's amazing. But Anyways, yeah.
That's the thing. And you know that she's attacked, I'm sure, and taken on, all the time. Yeah. All the time because of who she's married to.
Viciously. And then she's like...
So, but she's graceful. I love her.
They're both awesome people.
Very graceful.
Yeah, they're words. That's how she looks at it. Words.
That's all it is. Joy, we want to have you back on.
Yeah.
Please.
Whenever you've got something to say and you want to say it, it's an open invite. I kid you not.
Do you know how my husband would be laughing at you saying that? Oh, she's got something to say.
Bring your husband on the show.
It would be so much fun. He is so great. He's actually our treasurer, by the way.
Yeah, we love to talk
to him. We've got, it would be fun to hear actually his perspective. Like, I don't ask him, right? So tell me how do you think I'm doing? I know. But I'd love to hear what he thinks, the outside looking in, and having gone through everything with our daughter and all that.
It would be great to have that perspective.
It would be not only that, he served our country and with honor, and thank him for that.
Well, you will never, ever know how proud I am of him. I can't. I don't have the words.
And I can imagine he gets upset.
We've been through an awful lot, and next September, not that I'm counting or anything, he will be retired.
Oh, yes. All right.
So, congratulations.
I know. It was a second career for him, so I'm like, let's go. It's going to be fun. We're already talking about a vacation.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. We'd love to have him on. Last thing I want to ask, though, if you don't mind, is that you have, in the state of Washington, 2 chapters. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. We have 4 chapters.
You do? 4 chapters. Jim gave me the wrong information. I'm sorry.
No, Jim.
Jeez, Jim. No, we have 2 in Western Washington, so Kitsap and Snohomish County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just so you know, Snohomish is, I don't know if you guys saw the TikTok video that went viral with the dad who got the phone call from school that his son was taking antidepressants.
I did see that. I did, yes.
Yeah, he found out that his son had been given antidepressants without his permission, and it went viral. And that is Katie Larson's area. Okay. It's her chapter area that happened in. Yep. Okay. And it did happen, and it's happening a lot, she said. And then we have 2 in Eastern Washington, Whitman County. So that's in the Palouse area, just outside of Spokane. And then Benton County, which is my home area. So that's really fun. And our daughter actually and our son moved back over to where we grew up. And now our daughter's taking part in that chapter in Benton County. So
very
really
good.
Cool.
Congratulations to her. And, that's what raising them right does. To be honest with you. It's what raising them right does.
It's been fun. This was her first election. The primary was her first election to vote in, and watching her go through that process and everything was just amazing.
And it's fun. And I think a lot of people forget what a privilege it is to vote, right? Or to have that.
Yep. And you don't get to complain.
Especially those that get to vote 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, I know. Especially when they're dead. Yeah. Those people, they get to vote 7 times.
That's how much they like to vote.
It's literally going to say that on my headstone. When I die, do not let me vote down my grave.
I know. Don't forget to vote.
Okay. Real quick, YouTube, if you're listening, it's just a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Joy.
Yeah. Actually, all joking aside, real quick. No. So, we've been a mail-in ballot person or state forever, which I can't stand. Here's a real life example that happened to me. I have been out of my parents' home since I graduated from college. I got married between my junior and senior year. And every year until last year, my parents have continued to get summons for me at their address with my maiden name on it, and ballots. So if my parents and I were not honest people, even though we called and we harassed them, and well, not literally harassed, but please change this, update this. I haven't voted there for a gazillion years. I could have totally voted twice.
Wow.
But that's not the kind of people we are. Mom and Dad had shredded it and said, "Oh, by the way, you need to call the county auditor again."
Again, that is that. So it's happening to you, and it's happening to everybody. Same.
Oh, it's happening all over the place.
Same thing down in Oregon.
In fact, when I called, Oh, yeah. When I called over to the Benton County auditor, I said, why is this happening? You guys keep saying what a great system this is. And she says, well, it's technology, garbage in, garbage out. And I'm like, thank you. Can you say that again louder?
Really?
That'd be great.
That'd be great. Wow, that's crazy. Well, Joy, listen, it is an open invite. There's more to talk about, and I know there's going to be more.
Thank you. There's
more.
So much. Yeah. I know. We'll have to keep you up to date on the 15 people that we hope to put up for school boards. And I'm very interested to see how this new White House mental health program pans out. We're trying to get ahead of it. I actually contacted our friend Tracy at Pacific Justice Institute, who helped write an opt-out form for all the gender ideology and all of that. We're going to work on a separate opt-out that covers everything like this: medications, mental health, referrals, all of that. So we're working on it. We're trying to get ahead of it.
Good. How can people get a hold of you if they want to join your chapter, if they want to?
If they want to join, there's a couple different ways. You can go through the national website, the momsforliberty.org, set up an account there just to be an observer, and then you can search and navigate to Kitsap County to our website and join there. We also have a Facebook group. If you just search for Moms for Liberty Kitsap County, and there are some vetting questions that we have, because we really do try our best to keep like-minded people in the group.
They do a very good job with that, controlling that, because you have to.
It's a lot of time. And we do have trolls, and I thank them now and again for the free advertising.
I know. Isn't that true? That's true. Like Jim and I with that stupid reporter down at the summit who, Two Guys, One Coup podcast, confronting, protests. Well, thanks for mentioning the name of the podcast, buddy.
We actually were really excited about that, because we had talked about taking water bottles out to them because we knew how hot it was, but then they asked us please not to engage. Which is fine. But we loved that. I'm like, thanks for going over there and saying hey. And it was fun. A lot of us got pictures from hotel rooms and stuff.
I know. But, it's crazy.
And everything on their signs was nothing but a big fat lie.
Well, we asked them about it. We're like, give us some examples. I mean, they're fascists, they're racist, they're whatever. Give us an example.
The big protesters on Saturday. 95% of the posters were either about abortion, and basically they were about abortion, which had nothing to do with what
or Ron DeSantis, who was there the day before.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis.
Right. Well, apparently, I wondered about that abortion thing too, and apparently their AG had been speaking out and doing some stuff, and because she spoke there, who cares? Who cares? Like, that's not what she's here talking about.
It has nothing to do with
that. Reporter we were talking about earlier actually ran a story that said she talked about this and this, but not abortion.
Well,
of course not. You don't bring up abortion at a wedding. Like, wrong place, folks.
Here's a pamphlet that if you get pregnant, kill your baby.
That's not what we were there to talk about.
Insane.
Yeah.
Joy,
we would have been disappointed if that had been the angle. Yeah. Like, you'd have had 500 people asking for their money back.
I know, that's very true.
Duh.
Yeah, it's very true. So, Joy, thank you from both of us for coming on the show. We can't wait.
It has been a true pleasure, gentlemen.
We can't wait until you come back. Of course, we follow you, so we'll.
You might regret it.
Not at all.
Oh, never.
Not at all.
Like I said, we want to have you and Paige on at the same time.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure?
Actually, if we could find a way to do it, get all of you on.
It would be so much fun.
All of you on.
Oh.
Because Paula.
Well, and it's so fun now because we've met each other, so it's like, how are you doing?
It's fantastic. It's a family. It is. It
Paula
is a big
Davis,
family. So
Paula Davis, Brooke,
everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the one thing that I want everyone who's watching to know is this: we are just parents, and I don't mean that in a downplay. If you could ever have a view into our monthly Zoom meetings that we have for chapter chairs, you've got people with dogs barking in the background. Sometimes there's a mom on a treadmill. They're driving kids to softball. They're cleaning up dinner. breastfeeding a baby, getting their little ones, the little ones are photobombing the Zoom meeting. We're just people who see a need that has to be filled. And if not us, then who?
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. We thank God that you're out there.
Nobody
That's
coming
for
to
sure.
save our kids.
That you and the whole group is out there. It is really an amazing organization with amazing people.
It keeps me going.
Yeah, I understand. And like I think we even briefly talked about, it'd be great to not have any of these issues, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, they're there.
I love it.
Everybody, we would absolutely love it. Unfortunately, they are, and you're the ones out there fighting it. And like I said, taking the arrows and the bullets and the rocks and everything else thrown your way.
We'll do it every day and twice on Sunday, gentlemen.
And I don't think they know that. So that's the advantage of Moms for Liberty.
We know that this fall, if parents think that this last year was difficult, they ain't seen nothing yet.
That's right.
And so if we don't stay on this as much as possible, celebrate every little tiny win. For decades, they chipped away at a system to get to our kids. We're not going to win this in a big splash. Everything's back to normal in one day. We have to use those same tactics for good. We have to keep on them until it's changed. Until they're so tired of us, they just
It's a marathon.
Something.
You gotta pay. Yeah, it's a marathon.
It is. There's the short game and then there's the long game, and we have to celebrate all of it.
You're right, Joy. Thank you. We celebrate you. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. It was exactly as I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Perfect. Spot on.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, Dale.
You're amazing. You're an amazing spokesperson for the entire Moms for Liberty group. So we do appreciate it.
Well, that's all I ever want to do is honor the opportunity that Tina and Tiffany put out there. They saw a need and they started with, we have to do something, and then it just took off like wildfire.
You are more than honoring it. That's for sure. So come back.
Thank you. I hope
please come back. I mean it. All right. Thank you, Joy.
Absolutely.
Good luck, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jim, speak to me. She not great. She is great. I mean, she is a great human being. She's got a great heart. She knows her stuff. She's experienced it. She's fighting. As you heard, absolutely enemy territory out there out west. So,
a former teacher, and a mother who now doesn't have children in public schools.
That's right. Yep.
But she still cares enough about other children, and that's how many that's what we're talking about here. It's not always just about, like, when Paula has children in public school age. Paige does not.
Yep.
And so you look at all of these, Joy does not. But these are women that care about kids' education. It doesn't matter if it's their children, their family's children.
It doesn't matter.
This is all children.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about.
That's right.
Be who you want to be. How many times do we have to say that? How many times do they have to say that? And on the interview with Tina and Tiffany, the founders of Moms for Liberty, they mentioned in there that if there is a history class that is not going to teach slavery, that's not going to teach anything that happened
Jim Crow
within
laws,
the slavery,
all that.
then they'll stand right there with them and say, no, that needs to be taught.
Yep. Good and bad.
Listen to what they say, not to what the media says they say, or these haters out there that say what they say. Okay. Yep. Because again, we're still hearing about the don't say gay bill.
Oh, still.
When there's nothing in there about gay.
Yeah. Listen, I played Jim a little clip of a YouTube video. I won't get into it yet because it has to do with another Moms for Liberty member that we are going to be interviewing here shortly. And her name is specifically implemented in that clip and what they say about her. And all I can tell you is it's from a current sitting school board member who's saying this about him. And so, it's amazing the hate they're getting because they don't want guys with penises in girls' locker rooms, because they want women's sports and girls' sports to be girls' sports, because they want parent involvement, because they don't want puberty blockers given to their children, you know, because they want history taught and math taught and science taught and English taught, and not the Gay BCs, which is a book I just saw this weekend. I don't know if you saw it or not, Jim, online.
Yep.
What is wrong with it? I do this all the time. I'm like completely baffled. Every story I see, and it's happening every day, and we're getting a lot of them, and they're getting sent to us by all over the country from Moms for Liberty groups, and we appreciate it, and thank you. Keep sending them, because we eventually will talk about them all. It baffles me. I just don't get it.
And some people out there who, you know, because we might have some listeners that, you know, may, all right, let's, you know, we're handling a lot of this school stuff that's going on. Dale, in a couple episodes before this one, you brought up Lenin and Marx, not John Lennon.
Nope.
So, and then one of our guests, who will be coming on later, brought up Hitler. And in a nutshell, both of these gentlemen, if you want to call them that, or I call them horrible, evil, devil people, said, I don't need you. Give me your children,
Give me your kids.
And I will change the world.
Yep. And you'll never get them back. That's
look it up, guys.
Words. Look
Hitler
it up.
said it. Lenin
said it.
Marxism follows it. They say, give us your children. One even went so far, I think, they'll give us your children 4 hours a day.
Yep, 4 years.
Or something.
It was for 4 years.
4 years. No. Give me your
Yeah.
children for 4 years.
Which is
boom.
Yep.
What's this sound like, guys? I mean, listen to this. They want our children. They're taking us, parents, out of it.
Out of the equation. That's right. Now, and Moms for Liberty is saying this is the year of the parent, and I agree with that. And it's going to be their big thing that they're pushing is gender ideology. That's the big thing now that's going to separate them. And that's why this whole don't say gay bill bull crap that they keep saying, which isn't true. That's why they keep pushing it, because that's how they're going to do it this year. They're still got SEL. They still got CRT. Those issues are still there. They are not gone. But now they're going further, and they're pushing this whole gender ideology thing. And oddly enough, when Lenin said, you know, give me 4 years with your children and you'll never get them back. Oddly enough, that's how long it takes to get a bachelor's degree in college, isn't it? I mean, how did this, you know, just equates to. It really is sickening. Joy, thank you for coming on the show.
Awesome.
She will be back. For sure. Well, we love her to death, and we can't thank her enough for fighting for this out there. Go on.
A lot of these Moms for Liberty chairs, members that have been on want to come on again later, and we are absolutely, anybody is welcome to come on anytime. It's, you know, especially because we get, oh my God, look what's going on. You know, look what's and it just keeps happening, guys. It keeps happening and happening. And one of the interviews we're hoping to come up here pretty soon. There's a book reference that was listed between ages 12 and 18. And we won't ruin it right now. You won't believe what's in it. We will read it. Verbatim. Dale will.
Thanks. I'm the potty mouth. I know I'm the potty mouth of the show. I get it.
But maybe we'll split it. You'll read one part and I'll read the other part. But it is absolutely horrible. But that's what these mothers are trying to do. They're not trying to tell the teachers how to teach. They're just trying to tell the teachers and the administration and the school boards, maybe we don't need to teach them this. Maybe you don't need to show and start my child on puberty blockers to get them to start transforming. And
exactly.
But again, if you listen to CNN and MSNBC or any of these other liberal left networks, you're never going to know. So.
And also, if you really want to, you know, learn more about the whole gender ideology thing too, and not just in children, but it does involve, the documentary involves children. What is a woman? Seriously, watch that. I rewatched it again this weekend because we had some people at the house, my son, his buddies, and all that. And we're like, you guys got to see this. And we rewatched it again, and it's just kind of explains what we're up against, folks, out there. And these are adults, and these are the ones doing it to your children. And so,
because the Messiah started doing this.
He did.
I mean, he started doing this, and thank God, we had Trump, because Hillary would have continued on.
Oh, that's right. And you see where it's going now with Messiah 3.0 running Biden. He's guys, well, thank you again for listening. Joy, thank you. Stay tuned Thursday. We've got interview with Paige Miller and Ingrid Muse from the Hamilton County, Indiana. You guys probably remember Paige.
Hoosiers.
Well, whatever. But anyways, I don't even know what one of those are. But they
it's better than Boiler Up.
What? That I agree with. They'll be on Thursday's show. Great talking to them again. They're amazing. And Paige, again, good friend of the show, been on before. It's not the last we'll hear from her either, because that's just who she is, and she's got a lot going on in her life. But thank you all for enduring this whole Moms for Liberty and paying attention to it and spreading the word. Don't forget to donate to them, Moms for Liberty.
Yes.
.org, and buy their stuff. Moms for Liberty. They need that. They need that support. Start a chapter, join a chapter, whatever you got to do, because it doesn't matter. You don't have to have kids. This is the future, and they are severely destroying the future. So
they don't know how to read and write, but by God, they know their feelings.
They know their feelings. That everything offends them.
I know a lot of them. They're not succeeding in life.
They are not.
They're not taught disappointment. They're not taught how to. Anyway, we can go into more of that with further detail.
We've already got a long show today. So, Jim, thank you for your contribution again. Good luck with the new pups, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
Yeah, and real quick, we've offended Wolverines, Boilermakers, and Irish. All we can say to you fans: switch your allegiance. Anyway,
switch your allegiance.
So then you won't be offended. So
it's not hard to offend those people, anyways. Switch. Then you don't have to worry about it. Man up, people. Man up. All right, Jim. We'll talk to you Thursday, brother. Have a good one. Bye.
You've been listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast with Dale and Jim. Remember, you can watch on YouTube and Rumble and listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you like what you hear, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it, and it helps others find us when searching for podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and TikTok. Just search for Two Guys, One Coup. That's the number 2, guys, and the number 1, Coup, C-O-U-P. Thanks again for listening to the Two Guys, One Coup podcast, and God bless the United States of America.